Hey everybody, and welcome to Wednesday Night Church School. Tonight we're going to talk about communication and grace. We have 3 Bible verses for this evening, and we'll also read a story. So our Bible verses are from 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 8 through 12. Our second Bible verse is James chapter 1, verse 19. And our third is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. We're going to start with a song from Doug.
Hey, how are you guys today? Today we're going to do the story of Zacchaeus, the wee little man. Zacchaeus must have got picked on a lot when he was a kid, because he grew up really angry and mad at everybody, and then he found the perfect job. He ended up being a tax collector. He ran around to people's houses, and he banged on their door and demanded that they give him money, so he wasn't a very liked man at all. And then one day he heard that Jesus was going to come, and he wanted to see Jesus, this guy everybody was talking about. So he found a place where he could climb up in a tree and watch as Jesus came by. But you know what happened? Jesus found him, and Jesus wanted to go over to Zacchaeus' house and learn more about him. And it was kind of weird because Zacchaeus was not a very liked guy. So the moral of the story is, Jesus is out there looking for you no matter what you do in life, no matter where you are in life. If you need him, he's there. And Jesus will come and find you, and he'll ask to come into your house, into your heart. So let's sing Zacchaeus, okay? We sang this earlier in the year a little bit, so should be kind of fun. Here we go. Zacchaeus was a wee little man. A wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, for the Lord he wanted to see. And as the Savior passed that way, he looked up in the tree. What did he say? He said, Zacchaeus, you come down, for I'm going to your house today. I'm going to your house today. Zacchaeus was a wee little man. A wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, for the Lord he wanted to see. And as the Savior passed that way, he looked up in the tree, and the Lord said, Zacchaeus, you come down. I'm going to your house today. Yes, I'm going to your house today. All right.
Okay, so we are going to start with a story that is called Boy. Once there was a king who lived high on a hill. His castle looked over the valley to the mountains beyond. He was a powerful man with many brave knights. Cling, cling, clong, clong, cling. The mountains were once rich with trees, but a powerful dragon had destroyed much of the forest with his fiery breath. In a small village on the edge of the burned forest lived Boy. Boy couldn't hear, but he was happy. He spoke with dancing hands, and he drew pictures for people in the sand. His parents loved his stories, but the villagers didn't understand. "What a strange child," they would say as they walked by. Roar! Charge! Since the forest had been burned, the king and the dragon had fought many fierce battles. There was roaring, flapping, running around, hiding, dodging, weaving, and a lot of shouting. Boy couldn't hear the battle cries, but he had seen the fear in his mother's eyes and felt it in his father's hands when he held him close. The battles were loud and long, but no one ever won. Roar! One day, when the king and the dragon were battling once more, Boy ran right into the middle of it all. Roar! The knights were stunned. "Move," they shouted. "Get out of the way, Boy," ordered the king. "Roar," bellowed the dragon. But of course, Boy couldn't hear them. Flames flared from the dragon's nostrils. The knights waved their swords frantically as they marched over to Boy. "Why aren't you listening?" shouted the king. Boy was surprised when he looked up and saw them all. He watched them for a moment, then made his hands dance. The knights were flabbergasted. The king was puzzled. The dragon was mystified. Boy could see that they didn't understand him, so he took a sword and wrote in the sand, "Why are you fighting?" There was silence until, suddenly, the king pointed to the dragon. "He started it," he cried. "He burned our forest." The dragon shook his head. "It was an accident," he roared. "I sneezed a fireball into the trees. I came to say sorry, but your knights chased me away." The knights pointed to the king. "He told us to," they cried. The king looked up at the dragon. "Well, I thought you were coming to take my castle," he said. "Your castle is far too small for me," the dragon replied. "All I want is for you to stop chasing me. I don't like being scared." "Nor do we," chorused the knights. Boy drew a picture of everyone in the sand. He showed them how their days could be without fighting and fear. There was a lot of chatting and laughing. "I promise the knights won't chase you anymore," said the king to the dragon, "and you can visit my castle whenever you like." "And I will cover my nose when I sneeze," said the dragon. Boy couldn't hear a word, but he didn't need to. Back in the village, Everyone was waiting to see Boy. "Thank you," they said with dancing hands. Okay, so I'm going to start with reading from 1 Peter, chapter 3, verses 8 through 12. It says, "Finally, all of you, have unity of spirit, sympathy, love for one another, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Do not repay evil for evil or abuse for abuse, but, on the contrary, repay with a blessing. It is for this that you were called, that you might inherit a blessing. For those who desire life and desire to see good days, let them keep their tongues from evil and their lips from speaking deceit. Let them turn away from evil and do good. Let them seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayer, but the face of the Lord is against those who do evil." Okay, let's turn to James. James 1, verse 19. "You must understand this, my beloved. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. For your anger does not produce God's righteousness." And our last verse is from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. "Let no evil talk come out of your mouths, but only what is useful for building up, as there is need, so that your words may give grace to those who hear." I know that sometimes it's hard to always have grace in our hearts, but we need to remember that we need to try not to judge right away and communicate. Just like in the story, Boy couldn't hear or speak, but he found a way to communicate. And if everyone had communicated all the time, there wouldn't have been all the fights that they had going on. So just like we try to have grace in our hearts, we need to always remember that God's grace can help us through any times that we have. Okay, let's turn to our first worksheet, our Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. So it says, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." So it says, treat others as you want to be treated. And I think that's something that we all need to remember every once in a while, because none of us are perfect. So at the bottom here, there's a couple things that I want us to discuss, and I want you to discuss with your families. So a faith thought: the things we say should be glorifying to God and things that will benefit and help those around you. Our discussion question: how have your words affected others? What would you say to someone hurting? So I want you to take a minute and talk with your parents about that. And then this is something just to remember all the time, is practice speaking words of encouragement to somebody you talk to today and every day. And then there's a couple other activities that you guys can do too as a family. All right, and we're going to close with another song from Doug.
So our next song is This Little Light of Mine, this little gospel light of mine. We're going to do some whack-a-doing, okay? Feel free to dance along. Here we go. This little gospel light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, 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 this little gospel light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, 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 this little gospel light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine all the time. Let it shine, whack-a-doo, 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 whack-a-doo-doo-doo. Won't let Satan blow it out. I won't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, 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 hide it under a bush. What are you, crazy? I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine all the time. Let it shine. Wack-a-doo, 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 wack-a-doo-doo-doo. Shine all over Cannon Falls. Shine all over Cannon Falls. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, 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 shine all over Cannon Falls. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, 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 shine all over Cannon Falls. I'm gonna let it shine all the time. Let it shine. Wack-a-doo, 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 wack-a-doo-doo-doo. Let it shine till Jesus comes. Here we go. Let it shine till Jesus comes. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, 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 let it shine till Jesus comes. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, 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 let it shine till Jesus comes. I'm gonna let it shine all the time. Let it shine. Wack-a-doo, 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 wack-a-doo-doo-doo. Really quiet. Really loud. Do wack-a-doo, 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 wack-a-doo-doo-doo. See you later.
Okay, so a big thank you to Doug for the music for this week, and just a reminder that we should all keep grace in our hearts. And when you feel like you don't have grace or you're struggling with having some grace, turn to God, and God's grace will help you get through. So thanks everybody for tuning in tonight, and I will see you all next week.